How do you fact check a turtle? Thomas Massie is the lone voice of sanity in the House of Representatives, and Rand Paul is the only voice of sanity, apparently, in the Senate. Details coming up. Stay tuned, everybody. For the best meat you have ever eaten in your life, go to samsbutchershop.com. Enter the coupon code Triple T when you check out for a 10% discount. And a happy Friday to you all. Trailer Trash Tim here. How's your mom and them? Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. It is good to have you with us. We got a lot to cover, so let's jump right in the water. Let's start with the turtle. Everybody knows who the turtle is. The turtle is the minority leader in the United States Senate. Of course, I'm talking about Kentucky Senior Senator Mitch McConnell, the man who frequently freezes on camera. I think he's about 145 years old or something like that, but he's so important we can't possibly replace Mitch in the Senate. He is a neocon extraordinaire, cut from the same fabric as John McCain or Joe Biden. He's a man who is a lover of war, and if there's a war, if there's not a war somewhere in the world, he just doesn't know what to do with himself. Big supporter of what's happening in Ukraine, of course, and I'll go more into detail in that in just a moment. But McConnell recently gave an interview, and I wrote down a lot of the things that he said in this clip, which is only about a minute long, and I want to analyze this for you today, if I may. This is what McConnell said in the interview. He was being interviewed about our involvement in this disastrous war, our disastrous involvement in the war in Ukraine, where we support this puppet, the actor Volodymyr Zelensky. And this is what he said, quote, "If you look at the Ukrainian assistance, let's talk about where the money is really going." Yeah, Mitch, let's talk about where the money is really going. I got an idea for you, one that you won't like because you won't support it, even though it has been proffered in the Senate, at least by Rand Paul. It has been proffered in the House by Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the idea that I'm talking about is, why can't we assign an auditor to find out where all the hundreds and hundreds of billions of American taxpayer dollars are going in this futile, corruption-filled scheme in Ukraine? And that would be, why can't we have an auditor? Why can't we have somebody to go over there with a clipboard and give an accounting for where all of the hundreds of billions of taxpayer money is being spent? Of course, need I say it, we can't spend. You remember when Trump was president, early in his first term, he was seeking a relatively piddling amount of $5 billion for the American border, and it was like pulling hen's teeth, as we say in the South. I mean, not everybody, but his opposition was raising a stink. They were raising all holy hell about the fact that Trump wanted $5 billion, and he had to circumvent the normal budgetary process, not that we have one, mind you. And he was saying finally, well, hell, we'll just take it out of the defense budget. I mean, it was like an impossibility for Trump to get $5 billion for the American border. But when it comes to Ukraine, $100 billion here, $100 billion there, there's no limit to how much money we'll spend in Ukraine. But that's the question I'm asking. Why can't we assign, if we're going to do this, then why can't we have a little bit of fiscal responsibility? Oh, I'm sorry, we're dealing with Washington. That's just too much to ask. But why can't we have somebody go over there to help give an accounting of where all this money is going in Ukraine? Is that too much to ask? Especially when you consider this. Now listen to this, folks. This should make your blood boil. This was reported on naturalnews.com, and it was reported. It's a long story. I won't go into the details. You can look it up yourself if you're interested. There is an Egyptian investigative journalist by the name of Mohammed Al-Alawi, and he reported that Ukrainian President Zelensky bought a $5 million mansion via his mother-in-law. He used his mother-in-law's name. He bought a $5 million luxury mansion in Egypt. I think the name of the place is Alabuna. It is a enclave, a haven for millionaires and billionaires, and he bought some digs there, don't you know? Where do you think that money came from? $5 million using Western aid money. You got that? Now, if you're an American taxpayer, you need to understand that your tax dollars were used for Zelensky to use his mother-in-law's name to buy himself a luxury mansion in a billionaire's haven in Egypt. You know who his next door neighbor is, by the way? Oh, that would be Angelina Jolie. Maybe you're like me. Maybe you're a hard-working American who gets up and goes to work every day, and you work hard so you can make ends meet, buy groceries, pay your bills, make your house payment. But the American government takes a significant portion of your income so they can redirect it to Zelensky, who then uses the name of his mother-in-law so that he can buy for himself a luxury mansion in Egypt. Because, you know, but I thought the money was going for the war to fight the evil Russians, right? No. And by the way, let me remind you, this is just one example I'm giving you today. For the sake of time, I'm only giving you one example of this outrage. I could give you more. $5 million. I could buy a pretty nice house in America for $5 million, couldn't you? I could buy a really nice house for $500,000 in America. $5 million, Mitch. You got no problem with that, dude. You didn't talk about that, Mitch. Why is that, Turtle? Why is that, Senator Turtle? Why didn't you mention that? Do you not know about that? Maybe, you know, like I said, if we had an auditor, maybe then you would know. But I doubt you care, Mitch. Let's keep going with what he said. He said, if you look at the Ukraine assistance, let's talk about where the money is really going. A significant portion of it is being spent in the U.S. in 38 different states. We're replacing the weapons that were sent to Ukraine with more modern weapons. So we're rebuilding our industrial base. Is that the way it works? Our weapons are becoming obsolete, so we're going to send them to Ukraine so that we can then turn around and build more modern weaponry for the United States so they get our cast-offs. That's how that works. I got another idea. If you're going to get rid of our weapons by sending them to Ukraine, by the way, I thought you wanted to win the war. Why aren't we sending them our best weapons? We're going to send them our cast-offs. I got another idea, Mitch. If you're going to do something like that, how come we can't sell those weapons to a rich nation who might have use for them? Maybe they're an ally of the United States. Why can't we sell them and recoup some of our investment? Or does that make too much sense for you, Mitch? Then he continues with lie after lie after lie. Listen to what he says. He tells this reporter, no Americans are getting killed in Ukraine. That is a lie. And I have the evidence of it. According to the Independent in the UK, on April the 12th of this year, 2 Americans were killed in the fighting in Ukraine. That information is not just from the Independent. You know where they got that information from? From the United States State Department. So, Mitch, don't tell us no Americans are being killed in Ukraine. You make yourself look even more foolish than you already are. Yes, Americans have been killed in Ukraine. And you failed to mention another American who who is at least being imprisoned in Ukraine, and his future is bleak. And of course, I'm talking about Gonzalo Lira. But of course, Mitch, you don't care about Gonzalo Lira, do you? Even though he is an American citizen, he has never uttered one syllable about this American citizen named Gonzalo Lira. So there are American casualties in Ukraine. Some have been killed. At least one we know of is being held a political prisoner in Ukraine, and people like Mitch McConnell aren't lifting a finger to do a blooming thing about it. He continues, I have a heart. Let's see. The Ukrainians are destroying an army of one of our biggest rivals. That is also a lie. The Ukrainians, by no objective standard, are destroying. He's talking about Russia. They are not destroying the Russian army. And this is easily verifiable with multiple sources all across the media. You can look on social media and find this out. You can do a little bit of digging and you can see this is absolutely untrue. But the question I've got for you, Turtle, is this. You refer to Russia as our biggest rival. Well, you're being kind because we know how you feel about Russia. The other day, you said that Russia is now part of the axis of evil. But I cannot find, and I cannot get, no matter how hard I try, I cannot get anybody to give me an answer to this question. Why is Russia not only our biggest rival, but you said, McConnell, that Russia is a part of the axis of evil. Why, Mitch? Why? I'll wait. I'll wait for an answer. I'm serious. From anybody. I'll wait for an answer from Mitch McConnell, from little Lindsey Graham, from any of the neocons in Congress. I can't get anybody to tell me why Russia is part of the axis of evil, why they are our rival, why are they our enemy. Why? What has Russia done to us? Seriously, any of you watching me right now, can you answer that question? Comment down below. I'd love to hear it. Why are they our enemy? I have maintained on this channel repeatedly since 1991, when the Soviet Union fell, we had a prime opportunity to establish at least an economic alliance with Russia. It would change the world for the better. We could have been allied with Russia instead of butting heads with them. Why didn't we? That's a bit of a rhetorical question. We didn't because of people like Mitch McConnell, because of people like John McCain, because of people like Joe Biden, because of people like George W. Bush, because our Congress is infiltrated with neocons who cannot stand to go to bed at night knowing that we're not at war with somebody. They've got to have an enemy. Why is that? Can you guess? I'll give you one guess. So it's just lie after lie after lie. Did I cover all of that? Yeah, I think I did. But this is a summation of Mitch McConnell. You know what Mitch McConnell is? Mitch McConnell is a Cold War relic. He is a relic of the Cold War, when Russia, or actually the old Soviet Union, was indeed our enemy, and we indeed, from the time of the 50s and 60s and 70s, they were a threat to us. It was the old communist Soviet Union. We did have a Cold War at that time, and they were an enemy. I get that. I understand that. But Mitch McConnell never hit the reset button in 1991. He is from a generation, and there's a lot of Americans who still believe, from this generation, that the Soviet Union and Russia are the same thing, and they just must be our enemy. It is ignorant. It is ignorant. It is lazy for people not to do a little bit of homework and understand that Russia of today is not the Soviet Union of yesterday. And Mitch McConnell and John McCain and George W. Bush and Joe Biden and their ilk never hit the reset button and even tried to understand that times had changed, the Soviet Union had died, and a new, freer nation was being born or reborn in that region of the world. Couldn't do that. Why? Because they were more useful to us as an enemy, and that is why they never hit the reset button. They equate Russia with the Soviet Union, and they've never changed their tune since. This is why people like Mitch McConnell, who are stuck in the Cold War, and Biden and Graham and people like them, this is why they need to be ushered out of Congress. They are out of style. They're out of the times. They live in a different era. Their mindset is in a different era. They do not know what the hell they're talking about anymore. We live in a different world today, and they don't understand that at all. If they could sit across a table across from Putin and simply listen and try and learn. I would challenge any of you listening to me today. You can easily find this information online. I challenge you, if you have not done so, to go and dial up some of Putin's speeches from the last 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years and tell me what you find wrong with them. I challenge you to do that. Tell me if you don't come away, if you have an objective, rational, reasonable mindset, I challenge you to go and read any of Putin's speeches from the last 5 or 10 years and just see if you can find anything that's wrong with any of his speeches. I challenge you. This is a dare. This is a double dog dare. Go and find any of his speeches and come back and report and tell me if you found anything disagreeable about anything that he said. Tell me if his assessment of the West is wrong. I challenge you. I double dog dare you to go and do that. All right, let me move on. I've got so much to cover, and I've just got to move on. All right, let's go to Thomas Massie. Yesterday in Congress, the House of Representatives passed a resolution. This was HR Resolution 771. HR 771. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this was the title of the resolution. The title was this: Standing with Israel as it defends itself against the barbaric war launched by Hamas and other terrorists, unquote. That's the title of HR 771. Now that may not sound too offensive to you. Standing with Israel as it defends itself against the barbaric war launched by Hamas and other terrorists. This resolution passed overwhelmingly in Congress. Thomas Massie, Republican congressman from Kentucky, voted against this resolution, and he was right to do so, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason he voted against, he was the lone voice of reason on the Republican side of Congress. The reason he voted against it is because the devil is always in the details. Let me read to you from Thomas Massie's X page. This is what he said, and listen carefully if you will, please. I condemn the barbaric attack on Israel, and I affirm their right to defend itself. However, I will not be voting for H.R. 771 today because, number one, it calls for sanctions on a sovereign country. Sanctions are a prelude to war. He is exactly right, and hurt the citizens of the country more than the government of the country that is being sanctioned. And ultimately, sanctions create laws that will be used to prosecute American citizens who engage in trade, not citizens of the sanctioned country. In short, sanctions do not achieve their stated purpose, but do breed resentment of our country abroad. He is exactly right. Number two, there's 4 objections to this. Number 2, it asserts the necessity of foreign aid commitments, which I have voted against. Our country is going bankrupt, and we cannot afford to borrow money to send overseas. Yet this resolution states that we should. He is exactly right. Can you argue with that? No, you can't. Number 3, it contains an open-ended promise of military support that is so broad that it could be interpreted to commit U.S. soldiers to the conflict. U.S. troops should not be engaged in this conflict. Amen, Representative Massie. Number 4, it tends to broaden the conflict to other countries when it would be better to keep the war contained geographically. That is exactly right. That is why he voted against the resolution. Look, if they just stop with the title, Standing with Israel, and leave it at that, then that would be something everybody could vote for, probably, as it defends itself against. Look, I'm for any nation defending itself against an invasion. I don't care who they are. I would vote yes for that. But as I said, the devil is in the details, and all the other members of the Republican Party in the House of Representatives are too damn lazy to read the full text of the bill and stop and consider why they should not vote for it. It is for the 4 reasons Massie just pointed out on his Twitter, on his X page. But no, they you know what they fear? They fear political backlash. because they go back home in their districts and they fear people who will say, "Oh, you don't stand with Israel." That's not the case at all. But Americans, in generally speaking, on issues like this, are just too lazy to do their homework, as Congressman Massie has done. He was absolutely right to vote no on this resolution. I would have done the same thing, and Congressman Massie, I am standing up and applauding you, sir. You did the right thing. Now let's switch over to the Senate, where Senator Paul, this just drives me crazy. This is from Politico. Listen to this. The Senate on Thursday blocked Senator Rand Paul's attempt to pull U.S. troops out of Niger in the wake of a military coup there. The resolution failed in a lopsided vote of 86 to 11, with only 5 Republicans and 4 Democrats voting, and Bernie Sanders voting alongside the Kentucky senator. Paul's measure would have directed Joe Biden to remove all U.S. troops from the West African nation within 30 days, invoking Congress war powers under the U.S. Constitution. It said the U.S. had more than 1,000 troops in Niger as of June, the second largest U.S. military presence on the continent, with no explicit congressional authorization for them to be there. Senator Paul is exactly right on this. Dare I tell you, Senator Sanders is exactly right about this. We have no business having United States troops in the godforsaken African nation of Niger. And Rand Paul is simply saying, bring them home. And he is exactly right. But 86 other members of the Senate said, nah, we need to leave them all there. Only 11 people voted with Senator Paul to bring our troops home from Niger. Nobody can tell me why we need U.S. troops in Niger. Neither can you tell me why we need U.S. troops in Ukraine or Germany or Syria or anywhere else in the world, but we can't put them on our own border. You know, I get so tired of being in the minority, and I don't know among the populace as we are, but certainly among lawmakers we are. It's just disgraceful that these people can't grow a spine and bring our troops home from these places where they have no business being. I've got 2 more stories. Do I have time? Hey, do you guys want me to go on? I'm trying not to be so long-winded, but dadgummit, I got so much to cover. Let me see. I got 2 more things I wanted to touch on. How about this? Let me see if I can squeeze maybe one more. Maybe I will see how fast I can go. But you know, I speak Southern, and we don't speak as fast as a lot of other people. All right, stop clowning around, Triple T. This is from the... Y'all okay? Tell me down below. Hey, dude, you need to cut it short or just ramble on. We don't care. Just get to cracking. Let me know. I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm supposed to stop or keep going, but I got so much to talk about. This is from a website called Study Finds, okay? Study Finds. Listen to this. After a journey of 7 years and 4 billion miles, NASA's OSIRIS, OSRIS, OSIRIS-REx spacecraft landed gently in the Utah desert on the morning of September 24th, 2023, with a precious payload. The spacecraft brought back a sample from the asteroid Bennu, Bennu. Roughly a half-pound of material collected from the 85 million ton asteroid will help scientists learn about the format of the solar system. The budget for this trip was $800 million. Anybody think they brought it in under budget? Come on, folks. This is a government agency, NASA. The actual cost of the trip was $1.16 billion for a 9-ounce sample. Okay, look. I don't know where to go on this. I know some of you that are watching me right now think it's okay to be spending billions and billions of dollars with NASA on space exploration. Look, I get it. When I was a kid, I watched the moon shots. I liked the astronauts, Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin and all those guys, Michael Collins. I thought it was fantastic. But you're spending over $1 billion so you can bring back 9 ounces of dust. I'm sorry, all you space lovers out there. I just don't get it. I'm sorry, I don't get it. We need to find out the secrets of the formation of the solar system. Look, bear with me, will you? I'm not trying to be a killjoy, and I'm going to sound like what I probably is. I start to say inbred. I'm not inbred. I'm just a country boy out in the sticks of Alabama, folks. I just got to tell you, when it comes to the formation of the solar system and of the universe, can I just be honest with you? If this old country boy just goes and reads the book of Genesis in the Holy Bible, and the book tells me, the Holy Bible tells me that God created the universe, you know what? I know, call me small-minded, call me narrow-minded, call me whatever you want, but I got to tell you, that's good enough for me. It's good enough for me. I just accept it. By faith, I just accept it. No, I'm not saying I'm opposed to space exploration. I'm not. If you want to build rockets and go into space, knock yourself out. I think Elon Musk has done some pretty cool things, as has Bezos, and that's kind of the point. Can we not make space exploration a privatized matter? Must we spend taxpayer dollars on this? Are there not enough people? Are there not enough inquisitive private citizens out there who would be willing to finance such things, such projects with their own money, or maybe with private donations? Must it always be NASA? Must we spend over $1 billion to go find dirt? Am I just a curmudgeon? Am I a killjoy? Am I being overly zealous in terms of fiscal sanity? Comment down below and let me know. Triple T, you're all wet on this. Maybe I am. But I'm sorry. I don't get it. If you found an asteroid that was full of diamonds, okay, maybe it's more justifiable than, I don't know. I mean, I love the moon shots. I love seeing spacecraft land on Jupiter and Mars and all that. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I admit it. But at what point does it become cost prohibitive? That's my question. At what point? I'm not some Bible-only Neanderthal who's just saying, just read your Bible and forget it, and you ain't got to go to the moon. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if we are indebted to the tune of $33 trillion, where the hell's the money coming from, for heaven's sakes? We got money to go to asteroids, Jupiter, Mars, Uranus, Pluto, wherever. The sun, I don't know, another solar system. Where's the money for our border? I'm sorry, I know I'm redundant, I'm repetitive, but it's the truth. Where's the money for our border? Oh, you're driving me crazy. Oh, Lord. I got so much more to talk about. I'm going to cut it off there. I got a story of a man who competed in a swimming contest against 12-year-old girls, but maybe I'll save that for another day. I'm going to cut it off right there because my blood pressure's getting high. You feel me? All right, look, couple of programming notes. Today is Friday. All right, tomorrow is supposed to be the day that we do the Triple T Playhouse. Right now, I'm not exactly sure there's going to be a Playhouse tomorrow. Worry not, fret not. I will be here in one form or another. There's so much news going on, I may just have to get cracking again on news. I don't know what's happening tomorrow, but I will be here, I promise, in some form. It'll either be me or one of my characters. Is that good enough for you? So make sure you tune in tomorrow. Sunday, yes, we will have a live stream. 3 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Got that? Mark your watches. It's not the time change this weekend. I think that's next weekend. Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock. Join us for our live stream. And come with your questions and comments. I got to catch my breath. All right, look, and my legs are still sore from my hike. Can you believe it? Out of shape, boy. You're out of shape. All right. Hey, look, comment down below on everything I talked about today. I really want to hear what you've got to say about today's show. If you have not yet, let me do this first. Like this video down below. Give me the old thumbs up, if you will. If you have not yet subscribed to the Triple T channel, as long as you are not an illegal alien, you are a legal resident of the country in which you reside, and as long as you do not wear a face mask, take that thing off, you are more than welcome to hit that subscribe button down below and join our growing community. Thank you, everybody, so much for being with me today. This is Trailer Trash Tim, and I will see you tomorrow.